Welcome to the Through the Lane podcast with your co-host Lane. We'll host today. Carmine's being lazy, so he's not here. And it's been more eventful NFL wise. There's been a lot of extensions all around in sports. So starting off, we're gonna go with the finals preview. I wanted to do this with Carmine, but he's not here. He didn't want to do it over Zoom. He just is being a pain. But finals preview. So Dallas versus the Celtics. It's going to be an interesting series. I don't know. Neither team has great depth. And so I think it'll be interesting. I think I just don't know. Here's the thing too. There's at some point I don't think the Celtics will win, but at some point you feel like they have to. Like you've made it so many times, when you're knocking at the door, at some point the door is going to come down. So like, at what point are they going to knock the door down? This is the most stacked starting lineup. There are 4 either all-stars or former all-stars in the past few years. Derek White, who's made a case to be an all-star year in and year out. So, I mean, it's stacked. Now, you go to the bench, and you're like, okay, Al Horford, Payne Pritchard, Sam Hauser. That's really your 3 guys, and that's not deep. Now, there are talks of, do you start Al Horford over Kristaps because there's just, rapport between the guys. They flow better. But Kristaps or what we call him, Tingus Pingus. He's too good of an offensive talent, too much size, and a size that is needed for a team that, they're dealing with other size. I think this matches up 2 really good centers versus 2 really good centers. We said that about last, round 3 with the Timberwolves and the Mavericks, but I think Rudy Gobert and Cat are just different. I think you're getting really 2 true centers. Al Horford, too, is just a dog. He's like 45. Joking, he's like mid-30s. But he's still chugging. He's still a really good, presence. Kristaps has length. Is just athletic, really good. So, I think this goes 6 or 7 games. And I think if Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving play like they did last series, they're going to win it. Because I'm not sold on Jason Tatum. I'm not sold on Jaylen Brown. You played a very inexperienced, really hurt Pacers team. And Carmine brought it up that they're missing Benedict Mathurin. Tyrese goes down. You look at that, then their depth was already tested. It's an easy that, they should have won that series. Now, maybe should they have swept them? Yes. And they beat them, rightfully so. The games were really close, though. They all wait, until like the last one. All the games were close, which doesn't sell me. The Mavericks came out and blew out the Timberwolves, who beat the defending champions. And I've said all along, who comes out of the West will win. Because this the Western Division is stacked. And I don't care what you say. Just let's look at this. Stats-wise, no, they don't add up. They don't, meet together. But Luka Doncic is a unit. If he goes supernova, he really has to go supernova for like 3 more weeks. And then he can go to Cancun. If he goes supernova, they win. If he plays an average game, I don't think so. He needs to be the guy he was in game 3 and 5 against the Timberwolves. He was just a dog, 35. I think he needs to have it 33, 10, and 12. Kyrie needs to have 30 and 5 and 4. You need at least double digits from either Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively, and then you need double digits from either P.J. Washington or Derrick Jones Jr. And they got to hit threes. That's something that P.J. Washington was allergic to in the last series, was hitting threes. Like, allergic, terribly. So I think the rest for teams are going to be the same. I think I'm seeing that the Celtics take 9 days rest. They blew through the series. I think the few days rest for the Mavericks is huge. Huge, because it was a 5-game series, but it was a hard 5-game series. The games were close, physical games, and so if the Celtics do it, I think this makes Jaylen Brown a full-on superstar. I think we haven't seen him really do anything yet. He's kind of breaking out in the conference finals, and to submit Jason Tatum is I don't think one of the greatest currently, but I think he is a more low-end superstar. I just don't. He doesn't have the Mamba mentality in him. That's what everyone's been describing. He likes to reference Kobe, but he doesn't have Kobe in him. He doesn't have the Mamba mentality of to just close the game. So I think it'll be Dallas in 6 or 7. On to the next. The Lakers. It came out this morning that the Lakers are looking to seriously push to hire Dan Hurley, who is the head coach of UConn, who won back-to-back national champions. It's the guy that has the video where he's going nuts with one of his players, and then he just shuts off, goes playing, and shakes another head coach's hand. It's really weird, but he's a dog. Great head coach. It's between him and JJ Redick. JJ Redick, I think, would be the people pleaser for LeBron. I think it would do a lot for LeBron's stat padding, because we all know he loves to stat pad. So he can be like, well, look at my career stats. We're just not gonna go on that tangent. But I think he'd be better for LeBron. But I think as a team-wise and future, which is what they're all talking about, Dan Hurley would be better. We're about to see another wave of players. Donovan Clingan, who will probably go top 5, maybe top 10, due to how the lack of need of center past one is there. He's going to be one of the better rookie centers. They're really high on him. They played well. He lost I think I saw he lost 3 starters after the first natty, and he replaced them, developed some guys, got some transfers, and he wins another one, and that's going through Purdue. That team blew out Alabama. Where Alabama didn't score for 13 minutes. They went on a 36-0 run, which is insane in college basketball. So I think that shows that he's good. I don't know. Everyone describes pro locker rooms and college locker rooms are different. And now with NIL, they're starting to become closer, but egos are very different. You're dealing with older guys, and you kind of have to set the tone. And we'll see if LeBron and AD can do that, if they can take it. And kind of just be fine. You've seen them kind of be, crap on their coaches the past few years. So, I don't know. It'd be sad to see Dan Hurley leave UConn. I want to see them three-peat. But I think long-term for the Lakers, because we're getting close to the end of the LeBron era, you have to think long-term. I think long-term he's a better coach than JJ Redick. I think JJ Redick would fit if you're all in, sign JJ Redick as your head coach, because he'll draw everything up. But if you want player development, just bringing guys in buy-in, Dan Hurley is your guy, because you look what he's done at UConn, and he's been great. And I think he is the overall better head coach than JJ Redick because of the experience. But I think JJ Redick is the better, players coach. I think him and Dan Orlovsky are very similar, both different sports, but I think they're guys who can make the jump from the booth to the coaching and do it seamlessly and be really good at it, because they've just got great minds. And they're both players, both high IQ players as well. On to a little bit of the end of the NBA news. Mike Brown, for the head coach of the Kings, finally got signed an extension. That is big. That he's 3-year, I think $100 million, maybe. They needed him. They need him. He's bringing. The Kings were in purgatory for Lord knows how long after Chris Webber left, and he brought in a different dog. Now this year they were kind of sad. No real depth. The shooting guard position was a major issue. They probably would end up either trading, signing, or drafting a guy to play the shooting guard. Kevin Huerter just didn't do it. I think Kevin Huerter belongs in Atlanta, but that's beside the point. I think Mike Brown's one of the top 10 coaches in the league. I think he's better third. Recently, I think won coach of the year Say hello to Marie the cat. But yeah, I think they're a really good team. I think they need this. I don't know where they go. They need to. One second. They need to bring in a better shooting guard. They really just need better wings. They need better wing players. Because Harrison Barnes and Kevin Huerter aren't going to get it done. I'm not sold on Keegan Murray. He has flashes, but I'm not sold on it. Malik Monk off the bench, where they were like die hard. He's coming off the bench. Not sold on it. Not sold on it. I get it, six man type stuff, but Malik Monk's a dog. I imagine him playing right beside De'Aaron Fox as well. So. But I like, and we'll go more once the season's over into the Kings. I think that'll be an interesting team because they narrowly made it in the playoffs. But I just don't think they are a ways away from contending for a title, but they are a ways away from sucking. So, and this is quick. Wesley Unshed Jr. He signed, the interim tag is taken away. He's now the full-time head coach of the Wizards. That team is terrible. I don't know what you do from there. When the first-round picks they have are just, they suck. Johnny Davis is a bust. Patrick Baldwin Jr. No one really knows yet. He hasn't played much. Corey Kispert looks good, but he's a little older. I'm not Kalu. I'm calling him Kalu. Bill Lally, he's the French guy. Their 7th overall pick from this past year. He looks solid. Jordan Poole is terrible. Terrible. Jordan Poole, and I'm be a little rant here. Jordan Poole, let's be honest, the bag got to his head. He got too big for himself. And now we're seeing it. The dude was making plays that he had no business doing. And not in a good way. He just doing stupid stuff. And I think we're seeing, it's sad. I keep seeing things, 2022 when he was with the Warriors, that lineup was running through the league. Yes, but he was chasing that bag at that point. He had something to prove. He got his bag, and it's kind of like, he gets punched in the face by Draymond because he's a bit of entitled. Should Draymond have hit him in the face? No, but Draymond had a point. We're seeing the entitlement start to develop here. And I think he'll just be one of the worst contracts right now in the league because he scored less points. He was a lot less efficient on a terrible team. So you would have thought the efficiency would have stayed the same, but the points per game would go up. He's the main scorer. It's going down. They demoted him to the bench at one point. It's just bad. Jordan Poole is just if Jordan Poole is going to be one of the bigger what ifs in the league, I believe. Because he struggled his first 2.5 years. Then he second half of the year he gets caught up from the G League and he goes on this tear. And then the next season they bring 2022, the year they win the title, he's going nuts and he's looking like he's living up to that first round potential. Now those first 2.5 years, very inefficient. Kind of like with the Jordan Poole we're seeing now, which is crazy enough. But he comes in, they light the world on fire, win a title, give him in his bag. He gets punched that offseason. And they struggle, and you're seeing the entitlement. And so I just think it's sad. It's really sad. On to the next. Justin Jefferson signed an extension, which is huge. Let me look up the deals for the extension. He's staying, which is what they needed. 4 years, $140 million. He's the highest paid receiver in the league. The man deserves it. The man missed a few games, and he had almost 1,000 yards. And you have a guy like J.J. McCarthy. You need him. You need a ball thrower like that. You have Jordan Addison now as well, T.J. Hawkinson. The running back crew, I think they have Cam Akers. No, Cam Akers is a free agent. They're going to have to figure that out. I'm not high on the Vikings. They lost to Neely Hunter. They just don't look good defensively. Offensively, they have a solid offensive line. They have a solid receiving core, terrible running back core. J.J. McCarthy, I think, will be a bust. But, what? But I just, I think he deserved to get paid. What is it? $110 million guaranteed. Man got his bag. He's the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. He puts in, he's Amon-Ra St. Brown low-key is overpaid. I'm going to say that Amon-Ra St. Brown is overpaid. Yes, he's a really, really, really good receiver, but I don't think you put him up there with A.J. Browns and the Justin Jeffersons just yet. But yeah, he's making $35 million a year. It's a market-setting deal. It surpasses Nick Bosa's deal. Wow. And so yeah, I mean, he's one of 5 players ever to have over 5,000 plus yards receiving in his first 4 NFL seasons, which is insane. He has, I think I saw 40 receiving touchdowns. And, the Eagles, what's crazy is the Eagles could have had him. The Eagles could have drafted him. Because he was drafted right after Jalen Reagor, which is crazy because Jalen Reagor is out of the league now. Dog cheeks. But yeah, on to the next. NFL holdouts. Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk has not showed up at the training camp. Brandon Ayuk is holding his own OTAs by himself. And I hate NFL holdouts. I think they are the dumbest thing in the world. I get it. It protects you from getting hurt during training camp. I understand that. But the Le'Veon Bell thing showed that does not work because he was not the same guy when he came back. He went to the Jets and was not the same guy that he was before. And I think that has to be acknowledged. Let me look up his stats. Because he was kind of dog cheeks. Let me see here. He had 789 yards, but let's see his per carry, 3.2 yards per carry. That's terrible. And I mean, he was a top guy before. He was, he did really good. His receiving yards were insane. Holy cow. He had 800 yards receiving before. And, he did 3, had a lot of, good, but he just struggled, man. And he fell off. He's out of the league by 30. Kansas City, played with the Jets, then Baltimore. Then who is this? Who's Tim? Oh, Buccaneers. He was with the Buccaneers. Wow. He was a well-traveled guy. He's out of the league now. He's now boxing. Speaking of that side note, I think Jake Paul is fighting someone else. Mike Tyson had a little health scare, really big health scare, kind of sad to see that he's not going to be fighting anymore, or he's not going to be on. I don't think he's on the card. Le'Veon Bell finished with what a sad career, but I think he should be I think he deserves to be the thing that why people should not do holdouts because yes, you may get hurt. But if you're really that good, then there's no need to hold out. And if you get hurt, then your record should speak for itself. Shucks, look at Kirk Cousins. Man got $140 million guaranteed coming off an Achilles tear. I think holdouts are stupid. I just think they do, if you get hurt, okay. But if you've done well enough, then, play on. They'll pay you the money you deserve. Maybe you won't get top money. But, I mean, again, we're talking for 120 million to 150 million difference. Really, at that point, it's not big. And I just think Micah Parsons should not hold out. He's been when they lose, when the defense struggles, he is at the focal point of why the defense struggles. They run the ball towards him. They run the ball down his throat. And he's nowhere to be seen. Yes, he can be a really good pass rusher. Should he be an edge? Yes. I think him playing in the middle of the, backfield is not good. But I don't think he, deserves, everyone, says he's Lawrence Taylor. No, he's not. No, he's not Lawrence Taylor at all. But CeeDee Lamb is also holding out. I think he'll get his money. Brandon Ayuk, I think, has a chance to be traded because Ricky Pearsall, they just re-signed Juwan Jennings, Debo. I would have gotten rid of Debo over Brandon Ayuk because, he spent that year playing, the hybrid role, running back and receiver. The toll it took on his body, he can't stay healthy. I think, and Ayuk's younger, I think you'd have just traded Debo. But right now, they're holding steadfast on Brandon Ayuk, and he's holding his own OTAs, which is the funniest thing in the world, because just him running on a baseball field. And then on to the next, the rookies who I think can make a big impact, and this is really just going down to the quarterbacks for start off. I think, Caleb Williams is starting. Jaden Daniels, I think, starts. Then you get to Drake May. I'm not sure if Drake May starts. I don't think, there's a lot of talks of him, needing development. And you have Jacoby Brissett there, who will make the team, I think, is better than Mac Jones. And so I think that they just deserve, I think he needs to sit for about a year, come out, then, light it up next year. Go into the next, then Michael Penix. Who knows? It depends if Kirk Cousins is healthy. It depends if he outplays Kirk Cousins. And, if the team does good or sucks. Because if the team does good and sucks, or does good and, I don't think he plays. But if the team doesn't suck, or if the team does suck, then I think he plays. Because, you got to see what you have in him. And I just hate the whole situation that he's been placed in. I don't think it was a smart decision to draft him. We could have used a Dallas Turner, a pass rusher, because we didn't even sign one. Like, the pass rushing, let me look up Falcons depth chart. Because to my knowledge, we have not signed a receiver, or not a receiver, a pass rusher. Let's look here. Yeah, no, we have not. We really haven't made any big signings at all. I mean, we signed, we traded for Rondell Moore. We signed Darnell Mooney. That's about it. I mean, it's just kind of like, You could have gone out and you could have gotten, replaced Zach Harrison with somebody. Arnold, I'm not going to say his last name because I know I'll butcher it. I don't know if he's ready yet. I don't know if he can be that top guy. Let's look at he has the potential. He had 8.5 sacks 6 sacks last year. That's solid, but again, I need more out of him. Let's look at the stats from last year. Sacks. Yeah. Bud Dupree and Calais Campbell. Bud Dupree is now on the Chargers. Calais Campbell is gone. So there goes your top 2 guys in sacks. I'm shocked to see Calais Campbell has been in the league since 2008. Holy cow. But I was sad to see Calais Campbell leave. Moving on to the next, I think it's Bo Nix. I think he'll be a bust eventually. I don't think he has the high ceiling, but I think he ends up starting. It's between him and Zach Wilson. And then J.J. McCarthy. And I think J.J. McCarthy does not start the season, but I think he ends up playing down the stretch. And then on to, receivers. I think Glad McConkey has a chance to be a major impact in that Chargers receiving room. In that Chargers receiving room. I think he can be one of the bigger impact receivers. I think Keon Coleman himself can play really well as the number 1 in Buffalo. Xavier Worthy, man, his drops, bother me with the Chiefs. I don't know where the Chiefs go. You lose Rashid Rice. You lost Donovan Smith. Kadarius Toney's gone. Xavier Worthy's got to take up a big spot, and I don't know if he has it in him. Brock Bowers will be an interesting situation. They're 2 tight ends. I guess they're running 20 personnel. Because I guess, why not? Because you have 2 top tight ends. It makes no sense because both of them are going to have to get the ball at some point. You can't give them both. So I think, in that sense, Joe Alt was going to be really good. That dude is huge. He's going to be really good. I'm not big on the J.C. Latham. I don't know if he'll have that big of an impact. That line is terrible with the Titans. I'm not sold on the Titans either, and that'll be, in a second. But, let me go and look at the first round real quick because I feel like I'm missing some key guys. First round picks. Let's see here. Marvin Harrison will be big. I think he'll play a humongous role. Malik Neighbors. If Daniel Jones has a good season, I think Malik Neighbors has a great year. But it all depending on Daniel Jones. If he does his thing, then no. But if he performs really well, then I think he will. Olu for the Jets. That was an interesting move. I think he does his job. The Jets have not developed outside of Joe Pittman. Had not developed offensive line well. Elijah Vera Tucker struggled a little bit. So, Saints have, Latu, I'm not sold on. Byron Murphy, I think will do good. Dallas Turner's going to be a dog. He's going to be 10 per game, or 10 per season sack type of guy. Byron Murphy's going to be really good on the interior. Amarius Mims does not have a lot of starting experience. I expect to see, him struggle early on in his career, but I think he'll be really good down the line. Jared Verse, him falling to 19, I think that's big. It's kind of just like a recap. Chop Robinson, I don't see him having that big of an impact. Brian Thomas, not really. Terrion Arnold, I hope so, because I hate that pick. Xavier Legette, I think will. But that's also if Bryce Young struggles. And, if Bryce Young sucks, then, again, they will suck with him. Jalen Polk will be big. Second-round receiver. I think he has a chance. The two corners they draft, the Eagles draft, I just saw it. I'm kind of just rambling here. The Eagles drafted Cooper DeJean and Quentin Mitchell. I think that fixes their secondary issues completely. That secondary is going to be insane. And it's going to be really good. Kamar Lassiter is going to play corner for the Texans, and I think they needed that. Did they draft anyone? Do they have a first-round pick? I don't think so. Because of the trade that they had? No, they did not. And that's a shame, but they went out and got a corner to put across. Derek Stingley, he can play a little bit of nickel. A.D. Mitchell will be solid. Yeah, did not like the two picks that I can't stress that enough, Lions. You got no pass rushing help. And that's something that struggled. You could not get after the quarterback. You got after one side, but so you just flush around the pocket. And if you had two really good pass rushers, you kind of keep them in the pocket. That didn't happen. And I can't stress this enough. Not just because it's a Georgia guy. I think Ladd McConkey has a really great route running skills. His pro comp is Jordan Addison. I think, he's going to be a dog. He's a great receiver, great route runner. And I think, he'll be able to make a massive impact. Done with the rambling, though. Minicamp thoughts. I think the Texans are going to be a massive contender. You give them, Danielle Hunter. They did what I wanted the Lions and Falcons to do. Pair up a big pass rusher. Danielle Hunter, opposite of Will Anderson, will be huge. You went out and you didn't trade for Stephon Diggs like you didn't need any more receivers. And I think that's just, they bring back the guys they need to. They draft a corner, secondary guy. They're going to be really good. They also trade for Joe Mixon. Running game fixed there. And so I think they're going to be scary. I'm not sold on the Titans. Not sold on the Colts. I think the Dolphins are going to struggle this year. That division with the Bengals is going to be a dogfight. And the division where you have the Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers is going to be dogfight. The NFC South is going to be the NFC Least, as usual. I think the Bills win their division because I think they too much talent. Josh Allen's going to do his thing. He's going to elevate the roster around him, and I think he'll just do really good things for the team. And Keon Coleman's a dog. I think Keon Coleman's going to play really, really well. Not enough out of minicamp. The holdouts are a massive issue. And I can't wait for the holdouts to be over. We're also seeing, schedule changes, in the future, potentially an 18-game schedule. Also potentially making TAs out, taking them out, or making them voluntary. But yeah. On to the next. MLB issues a live ban to a player. I can't say his name because I'm going to butcher it. The Padres, he's banned for life betting. Just the same thing with the whole Shohei thing. And then 4 players also received a 1-year suspension. Let me look up the 1-year suspensions. Suspended players for gambling. Turkapita, I'll try to put this up on the screen. But yeah, so he's banned for life for betting. It's because I think he bet more games and he bet on his own team. I think that gets you banned for life. I think betting on the sport also gets you banned for a year. What's weird though is David Fletcher betted with this illegal bookmaker. I don't know if it was on baseball though. Again, that also makes the Shohei thing really weird because they're best friends. Shohei's name was cleared out of it. But let me look. Jay Groom suspended for a year. Michael Kelly, who's been really good for the Athletics, and which that hurt the most for me because I'm big on the Athletics. They look really good. I hope they spur it, give the middle finger to their owner because what he's doing is terrible. Michael Kelly suspended for 1 year. Jay Groom, a top prospect for the Padres, suspended for a year. Jose Rodriguez, former top prospect, suspended for a year. Andrew Saalfrank, who's a really good left-hander, that's been optioned between the minors and the major leagues for the Diamondbacks, suspended for 1 year for gambling. And neither one of them made a lot of money at all. So, you look at that and you're just like, wow. You're wasting away money. Turapita, Mark. We're just going to call him Mark. I mean, really just he could have been made millions, and he's blown it away to bet. Gambling's a serious issue, and if done irresponsibly like this, can cost you a lot. Can cost you an insane amount of opportunity and life. As a pro athlete, you should not be betting. You're playing these games. Like Jonte Porter. I mean, this is huge. We have now in the past few months 2 guys suspended for life in the sports they play because they couldn't be smart with their money. No, was he good? No. He's coming off an ACL tear. OPS of like 590, which is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. He didn't do it with the Padres, he did it with the Pirates. Which was weird was he started with the Padres, traded to the Pirates, and traded back. And while with his time with the Pirates, he did do it. A lot of these guys, and I think let's also say like Kelly, he placed 10 bets involving 9 Major League games between October 5th and 17th. In 2021, he was with the Astros AAA affiliate in Sugar Land, Texas. So like it kind of just saves it because he's not in the major leagues. Kelly bet a total of $99, and he won $28. It's like really, really stupid. He's going to be out for the year. Groom, he placed 32 bets from 2020 to 2021. Wow, this is a while ago. 24 of those involving Red Sox Major League Club. He was a prospect for them. He was in high A. He bet $453. And he lost $433 on that. Sad. Rodriguez placed 31 bets from 2021 to 2022, including 28 Major League related bets, 3 on college baseball games, all while on a minor league contract. His bets included 7 involving the White Sox Major League team, while he was assigned with the Cubs AA affiliate in Birmingham, Alabama. He bet $749, and $729 were on MLB wagers. And I guess he did not make any money. Saalfrank placed 29 baseball bets. He bet a total of $448, $45. He lost $272. And without, he's going to lose this year's wages. Stupid decisions. Decisions guys should not be making. They should know better. And now they're going to be missing out on a lot of money. It's insane to think about, all young guys outside of Michael Kelly. So guys who are still kind of relatively prospects. And now they've kind of just blown it for themselves. On to one more baseball thing, and this is big news. We'll do a few more baseball things. Big news. Jorge Lopez throwing his glove over the foul fence and him kind of being like, I'm this. He either says that I'm the worst teammate or this is the worst team. There is an interpreter beside him, but he kind of cussed it out. He kind of was like, if they have me tomorrow, I'll be happy to return. Kind of threw a hissy fit. And he got DFA'd, which is pretty much released from the roster. It was not received well. I mean, it was one of those things where you're like, he just said that about his team. It's believed he called himself a terrible athlete, but he sounded like it was the worst effing team in the league. But he said teammate is not good. Just not a good look for him or the Mets. The Mets are terrible this year. I think they're second to last in the NL East by the way of luck of the Marlins being so terrible this year. So I think, he got DFA'd as well. One more quick thing, a little bit, is that there's this Birmingham school who they're closing down, but their baseball team made it to the D3 World Series and just lost. But, there's a really cool story to see for them to play on. It's just a really cool environment for them to be on. But the Mets thing is just insane. Jorge Lopez. It's one of those things you see out of a movie where it's just like, Antonio Brown-esque type of move. Where they that night, actually like 2 hours after the press conference, it was released. He is getting DFA from the Mets. I highly doubt he gets ever picked back up. I mean, that's kind of the type of thing where you're like, well, if you say you're the worst teammate, why do I want you in my locker room? If you said this is the effing worst team, how can I trust you to be in here? How can I trust you to be a team player? So I think he'd have to prove himself next year on a minor league deal. I think his year's done. I really do. It was having a really good year too, which was sad. But he kind of just fallen off. It's sad. Pro athletes like that, he pulls stunts like that. It's a shame. They're wasting talent, and it's just sad, man. The Mets are terrible, which warms my soul because they try to pull Dodgers and pay to win. Dodgers lost last night. This is Thursday. This is being recorded on a Thursday. Dodgers lost last night. Paul Skeens had a good start. Now I'm going to talk about that. Paul Skeens and Jared Jones. If the owner's named Nutting, he owes it to the people and he owes it to those two pitchers to start signing hitters to help them. Because that is a really nasty 1-2. Then you added Mitch Keller, who looked like a frontline starter for most of last year. 1-2-3 combo. That looks elite. And you've got to do something to help the team and add hitters. Paul Skeens looks like a perennial Cy Young winner. Jared Jones looks like a all-star candidate. Both throw gas, a lot of strikeout stuff. Jared Jones blanked the Dodgers. Paul Skeens struck out 8, but allowed like 3 runs in 5 innings. It's an all-right start. It's like his 4th or 5th start in the league. He looks really good. Both of them do. Pirates have an interesting future in their rotation. It's just they got to spend money. And they got to develop second base prospect Tamar Johnson. It's a top 5 pick, like 2022. The same draft as Jackson Holiday. You just got to develop him because he looks like he can be really good. But, O'Neal Cruz has to develop too. And, he's got tantalizing tools. But he just strikes out way too much. I think the Pirates are a team to watch in a few years. Another team is the Orioles. They are scary, man. And they're just bringing up prospects by the droves, and they're doing really good when they give them full-time opportunities. That's it. Next, UFC 302 recap, and man, wasn't this an event? Let me look it up real quick. UFC 302. Makhachev won via submission late 5th round. Looked like it was going to be Poirier's fight to win. It's just sad, man. This may be the end of Dustin Poirier, and it's sad. Everyone wanted to see him. He's had so many title fights, so many big fights. It's fight of the night, performance of the night. They made a lot of money. But, again, it's just sad. Sean Strickland won, beat Paulo Costa, split decision. And he rocked Paulo Costa. Two guys who have relatively boring fighting styles. And I think Paulo Costa just, he's too passive. Kevin Holland, knockout. Submission, 1st round. Performance of the night. Again, I just think Kevin Holland deserves to be up there eventually, dude. At some point, he deserves it. Again, none of these rest of these fights were really big fights. There's one that was on the prelims between ranked fighters, which is wild. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a down card. The next card, which is going to be even better. So Fight Night Cannoneer. Well, we're talking about pay-per-view. Let's get to it. Oh, it's 303, but I want to talk about the one the week before it. Whitaker Chimaev, Kazmazat. That one's big. Alexander Volkov is fighting, former heavyweight challenger. Johnny Walker, who's light heavyweight, who looks to be like future contender, or he'll just be a guy that's in the rankings and just do some damage. Kevin Gastelum, man, he used to be a dog title contender. He's back down to welterweight. Sharon Magomedov's fighting in it. It looks like a really solid card, or that's the one you don't have to pay to see. But going on to 302, real quick, McGregor versus Chandler, that's gonna be good. Jamal Hill versus Olberg. Women's bantamweight belt for I can't even say either one of their names. And then the one I'm really excited about, Michael Venom Page. He's the guy that just throws Pokemon balls when he was with Bellator, versus Ian Gary. Ian Gary's undefeated, talks a lot of smack. Very controversial person. I recommend you doing research on him. Michael Venom Page is just an insane athlete. And so it'll be an interesting bout. Cub Swanson, man, fighting. Dude, I've been watching him for about over a decade now, and he's really, you can't not love Cub Swanson. Michelle Watterson's still fighting at strawweight. Wow. She's on the card. It's a stacked card. It's a really, really stacked card, and it looks really good. To that end, it looks like it's be the end of the episode. It's a little quicker without Carmine here. So thank you all for checking in. Hopefully he's here for the next episode.